Welcome to NuttieBuddie Entertainment.
Obviously, we all have our own preference in entertainment. So for me, when you listen to me talk about it, I'm a little disappointed in it, and that will reflect my when we talk about the movie, my view of the movie, mainly because of the genre that it kind of took on. I'm not a big fan of like horror movies. I don't watch anything that's like demonic or satanic or whatever the case of me. I felt like it sort of crossed that line into the movie, and I didn't know that was going to do that. But because I told everybody we would do a review, and I watched the movie anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a review on it. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Just not my favorite genre, so it will probably reflect on how I look at the movie. So I just wanted to throw that out there for all who listen. If you want, I know that Neil and Elliot, they've been on the podcast, for friends of the podcast. They on the Shootin the Bries podcast, they also talk about Doctor Strange. They're kind of, sounds like they're more into that stuff. So if you'd like to hear their viewpoint on the movie with a little less bias, I will put their link and podcast information in the description of my podcast. So our podcast, I should say. So
The Great.
Okay, let's start with The Great. What we felt that really stuck out to us in this movie and in Doctor Strange 2. Let's start with you, Brian. What's one of your greats?
I'm just gonna start it off with the Illuminati. I'll preference it with it was too short and rushed, but I really like what they did with bringing in all of those different characters, especially Black Bolt. I watched the what is the show called?
Inhumans?
Yeah, Inhumans. So I actually really liked his character and the actor who played him in that show. That was one of the good things out of it. And seeing him portrayed in this with the actual suit for Black Bolt was really cool, I thought. And then as well having Captain Marvel as Maria Rambeau instead was actually kind of cool to see that take on it. But yeah, I liked how they brought all those characters in and what they did with them. I wish it was a little bit more and they didn't rush it and kill everyone off super quick. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so that was actually in my good because of the thing you mentioned, is it just felt really quick.
Yes.
And rushed.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't develop more on, learning more about those characters, at least, because it was just like you meet them and then they're off to fight Wanda and then they're dead.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I also have like part of my greats that Xavier, we all knew Xavier was going to be there. I was happy he was in the movie.
No, yeah.
I wish his fight scene with Wanda would have actually been like a fight scene. You remember did you see Age of Apocalypse?
Yes.
Okay. Much like Age of Ultron, it really wasn't an age. It didn't really last that long. But
True.
The fight scene between Apocalypse and Professor X was much more, to me, entertaining almost in that movie than it was in this one. I wish it would have been more of a fight inside of Wanda's head for the 838's Wanda's sanity or whatever they were, because that's who was locked away in that little hole.
Yeah. Question for you. So do you think it was 838's Wanda who's locked in that hole, or was it the actual like sane, like 616 Wanda because of the dark hold getting a hold of her?
That's a good question. I think it was 838's Wanda.
I'm kind of leaning towards that. I've heard people saying like, oh, it was, her, but like the good portion of her, and he was trying to bring that out or something. But yeah.
Which is pretty interesting, because obviously the Wanda in 616 is stronger than the 838's Wanda. But I'm surprised that 838 couldn't put up much of a fight against 616. That makes sense.
Did she have powers? That's what I was a little confused on, because before Wanda took over her, she didn't really look like she had powers. She just had the kids, and there was no hint of her having powers. And then once Wanda took over and then she wasn't in her anymore, she then, we saw her glowing hands, when she was there with the kids. So I'm like, did she somehow get powers from like, did it like unlock them or something like that? Because yeah, the Illuminati didn't mention like this universe's Wanda. So I don't know if she was really part of anything.
No, I think that's why I actually heard this explanation on I think I saw it on TikTok, but it was a really good explanation. It's because people are like, why didn't the Illuminati take Wanda seriously? Well, it's because their Wanda had powers, but it wasn't to the level of 616's Wanda.
Okay.
So they were thinking, and I thought, oh, that's actually a really good explanation. They're thinking like as Wanda's coming in, oh, we know what Wanda is. We can handle Wanda, but it was the stronger version of Wanda, the Scarlet Witch Wanda, which ended up wrecking them, which, we'll talk about. But I think that was kind of a good explanation of it. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So she has powers, but she isn't as powerful, obviously.
Gotcha. Yeah. Another thing about the Illuminati, I think, is the reason they weren't taking everything seriously, especially like Doctor Strange and Wanda, is because they, even through in the comics, they were very arrogant and they thought like, we can handle anything, let's not worry. So that was always kind of part of their downfall in some of the comics. So yeah, especially like their death scenes, it's like, Mr. Fantastic unraveling and they're not doing anything, or even Black Bolt or something like that. I think a lot of it was just because like, well, I don't need to help them. They're powerful enough to do it on their own. We beat Thanos in a day, so they're very arrogant.
Yeah. That would be a cool.
I know that's probably in your bad. So
yeah, no, we'll talk about that. Yeah, but I was gonna just say it would be a cool like side movie to watch 838 versus Thanos. Like somebody put that, on Titan. That would be kind of cool to watch. But yeah, no, you definitely sense the arrogance in there. But obviously, Professor X sees something in Doctor Strange because he told Mordo to like let him go if you've I only watched it once and I'm not watching it again, but I'm just saying like I only watched it once, so I don't
trying to remember
exactly what happened. Okay, let me go with my great, and this is probably no surprise to you. I'm really happy they went with Wanda as the villain. Remember that was one of the three things that I wanted to see, and I thought she made a really good villain. Some of the like creepy stuff that she did is because of her powers she's able to bend reality to her will. So it's like, yeah, of course she's going to make creepy things happen, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But her being the villain, we'll talk about her a little bit of a tease, her motivations a little later. But I did like that they went there with the villain. And do you think she's dead?
I mean, rule in Marvel is if you don't see them die, they're usually not dead. Two ways they can do this. She's not fully dead and she's just underground or something like that. Or they bring into play the 838 Wanda and bring her in. So I don't know. I don't think she's dead, honestly.
Because she could be the Thanos level villain that like they have to stop together at some point. That's what I kind of was hoping, because she's strong enough. Obviously, she like we mentioned, just wrecked the Illuminati in like 5 minutes. So I mean, like I just feel like that would be a missed opportunity if they just killed her off right away.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get her as a bad guy again. I think
don't talk like that, Brian. You're probably right, though.
She's gonna be. I know. Yeah, I feel like we're only gonna get her once as a villain, because Marvel doesn't bring back, a villain twice at this point. They just kill them off. So
yeah.
I think there's gonna be a little bit of a redemption story with her or something like that. But I also had her in my great.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah. It's gonna be hard to redeem her, though. That's the hard part, is because what she was willing to do and who she was willing to get rid of to have her family. It was kind of like, which we'll talk about again in a little bit, but like it was a sequel to WandaVision, but not really a sequel to WandaVision. It was kind of like connected, but not really. But the end where Monica Rambeau said they don't know what you had to give up to, whatever, to try to justify her actions. It all seems now like Monica Rambeau shouldn't have said that, because it really was her villain origin story. Almost WandaVision was.
No, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But yeah, I liked Wanda in this, especially her portrayed as the villain. I definitely liked her over Doctor Strange. This did not feel like a Doctor Strange movie. This felt like a Wanda movie. So yeah, I think her whole arc through it, it was, yeah, we'll talk about it later, but being kind of like a sequel to the TV series where it left off, it kind of, yeah, I think it did a good job. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it. Do you have another great?
my wife had a great where she said that Elizabeth Olsen's makeup and hair was on point. So I guess that's a great.
Awesome. Yeah. More Wanda stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was great in this. I thought
Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen was really good. Playing sort of the villainous woman in this. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all the greats I got.
Yeah, I don't got any other greats either. I was trying to think too, because typically I try to watch a movie twice before I do this, and I just like,
Yep.
I can't think of anything else. So
Yeah.
some of the
I do.
visuals were pretty cool. I
Oh yeah.
know.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I do have one more great. That reminds me. I really enjoyed the mirror scene with Wanda her being stuck in the glass in the puddles.
Yep.
I think that in the movie was a really good balance of kind of having that suspense and mixing, kind of the Marvel universe in it, because once she kind of stuck her hand through that puddle, like it was a good jump scene and it really worked well with the movie. So yeah, that was my favorite scene in the movie.
I agree with that. Like that was good. And it was like, again, made her a really good villain, because
Yeah.
she could do these things to creep them out and scare them because of her powers. But yeah, no, I really like that scene. I sort of liked her coming out of the symbol or whatever she came out of, that mirror, and like the way she did it. I thought that was cool visually, as far as like, especially with the shock value that it came with.
Yep.
So I did like that as well. Okay, any other greats then?
Nope, that was it.
Thanks so much for listening to Brian and I discuss Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the movie. Click on the links below if you'd like to listen to the rest of our podcast. Or we got other podcasts out there. We rewatched the Star Wars Episode 2 and Episode 1. That's available as well for the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also down below in the details are my friends Neil and Elliot's podcast of Doctor Strange 2. They have a little bit more unbiased of a view of the movie, so go ahead and listen to their podcast as well. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and thanks so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you guys soon.